the threat that he was under. He took precautions to move frequently to avoid being surveilled and targeted by government forces, but he refused to be silenced and stayed committed to fighting for better working conditions. BPO is a major industry in the Philippines and takes even more prominence in Bacolod City, where Alex was murdered. Over 20 large BPO companies have their call center hubs in Bacolod City. The motive for this killing is obvious. Alex de la Rosa was a threat to the profits of multinational corporations like Teleperformance. They wanted to send a stronger message to the struggling workers of the Philippines, that if they organize, they will be killed. And that the only thing that matters to these companies and to the Philippine governments is their profits. The current president of the Philippines, Marcos, agrees, quote, "My primary interest is trying to make our country an investment-friendly place. This is the situation OPERF is being invested into. Our pensions are backing the brutal exploitation in the Philippines. The murder of Alex de la Rosa is not an isolated incident. Corporations, along with the government of the Philippines, have been killing activists for decades as part of their counterinsurgency program. The government of the Philippines is waging a war against its own people in order to protect foreign profits and will not stop attacking people like Jude Fernandez, a 67-year-old union leader who was shot by police in his home while unarmed, while they were carrying out an incorrect warrant in October last year. Or Erickson Acosta, an award-winning poet and peace consultant who was captured by the Army of the Philippines and then executed, only for the Army to later claim he was killed in combat. Brandon Lee, an American citizen who was shot outside his home in the Philippines, where he was working as a journalist and paralegal supporting indigenous people in their struggle to defend their ancestral lands from mining and energy projects. Chad Bao was a volunteer math teacher for underserved indigenous communities. He was arrested without warrant twice for protesting martial law in 2017. He was then murdered in the New Bataan massacre on February 24th, 2022, when the Army slaughtered 5 activists and falsely asserted they were armed fighters. Angio Yelin, a lawyer who questioned the constitutionality of the Anti-Terrorism Act, he was stabbed with a screwdriver through his skull. The attackers then took his case files and fled. He survived and continues to bravely speak out against the heinous crimes of the Philippine government. Another lawyer, Samiata Alzate, who provided free legal services to the poor and those challenging government power structures, was gunned down outside her home by 2 men on a motorcycle. I want to share a quote from Alzate that encapsulates why I'm speaking today. "Always take sides. Neutrality and silence emboldens the abusive. Stand and speak, even if you are alone." Or a more recent example, the most recent example, is Jose Estiller, a brother to a women's rights activist. He was abducted on camera February 20th this year by members of the armed forces. The Philippine National Police lied, saying that he voluntarily surrendered. Just last month, Hannah Siesta, another lawyer and human rights activist who provided free services to the poor, was tortured and killed in public, along with 4 others by special forces and police. Peasant farmer Jose Caramihan was tending his crops when he was shot and killed on February 21st by the armed forces, who falsely accused him of being a member of the New People's Army. Rather than help farmers amid a devastating drought, the Army continues to indiscriminately bomb wide swaths of the countryside, displacing thousands as part of their counterinsurgency strategy. Roy Gianto, along with 8 other Tumadoc indigenous leaders who were massacred point blank in a coordinated attack after previously being ragtagged by the government for organizing to protect their homelands from a mega dam project. The Fausto family, 4, a wife and husband, both peasant farmers, and their 2 children, were executed in their own home during the night by the armed forces of the Philippines for the simple crime of not agreeing to be spies on other activists. The list goes on and on. These are just a small snippet, a small frame of the untold hundreds and thousands murdered in the Philippines and in other countries to defend and protect the investments of foreign corporations. Thank you.
My name is Tony. I'm here again with Kalikasan Solidarity Organization. Right now, we have two PERS recipients, retirees, who are going to deliver to you our petition with signatures of our Stop the Plunder campaign. As environmental and climate activists in the U.S., we believe it is our duty to unite in solidarity with the Filipino people in their struggle for land, self-determination, and freedom from foreign domination. We are joined by members of Bayan Oregon, DSA Clackamas, people organizing for Philippine Solidarity, Portland Committee for Human Rights in the Philippines, Portland Youth Climate Strike, Surge PDX Indigenous Solidarity Group, Extinction Rebellion, Ceasefire Action Network, Jewish Voice for Peace, and rank and file members of SEIU 503, PFSP, Local 101, and more. We are PERS members and recipients, teachers, students, workers, and parents, all gathered here today to demand that the Oregon State Treasury divest from corporations responsible for the plunder of the Philippines, including Boeing, Tesla, OceanaGold, Teleperformance, and JP Morgan Chase. These companies are gutting the resources of the Philippines and selling weapons to the Philippine government, who in turn use them in a brutal counterinsurgency war against their own people. These corporations work hand in hand with the Philippine and U.S. governments to advance their own interests by neglecting and oppressing indigenous people, people of marginalized genders, children, human rights activists, and land defenders, all of whom are victims of their exploitation and violence for the sole purpose of protecting corporate projects and ruling class interests. These companies have the blood of thousands of Filipinos on their hands. You may think you are separate from these atrocities, but you too have blood on your hands by investing in these corporations. From the bullets used to murder land defenders to the bombs indiscriminately dropped on rural communities, your investments of our state funds make you complicit in these crimes. Complicit in theft, murder, and terror against civilians. The decisions made right here in this room are a part of the U.S. war machine. I was here last April, and I sat here near tears, urging you to care. You said nothing. There was no response from any of you, except you. You rolled your eyes at a man from Jewish Voice for Peace who was demanding your divestment from an Israeli spyware company, which was responsible for the surveillance and human rights violations against Palestinians in April. I will never forget the way you rolled your eyes at him when he went slightly over time on his testimony. We saw you then, and we see you now. Your annoyance, your apathy, your callousness is nothing compared to our rage. Nothing compared to our love for the people. The Filipino people, the Palestinian people, the Congolese people, for the indigenous people of Turtle Island, for our planet, for all of the people who are victims of imperialism and state violence. I hope you look at all of the people and organizations present in this room today, your constituents, and understand that while you may not care, the people care. Every single person I told about your investments and the struggle and the horrors they commit care. Every single person. Take our demands seriously. You have a responsibility to listen to us. We have seen you neglect this responsibility before, and we will continue to hold you accountable because we refuse complicity. We know we are connected, all of us, and our struggle to stop the plunder does not end here. We will not stop until every Filipino child can live in their homeland safely, until every child can grow up to adulthood and become an elder in their homeland safely, free from foreign domination, free from exploitation, free from environmental plunder, free Palestine, free Congo, free the Philippines. Stop the plunder.